What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Hub. My name's Greg. What I'm going to go over for you guys today is 20 of the biggest mistakes that I feel like most drivers make, whether you're new or experienced. I think there's a lot of pitfalls people fall into. And so I just wanted to go over these and how to combat a lot of these. So the number one I have on my list is just like getting overly stressed and like freaking out about this stuff. It's really easy to like really let all of this get to your head, whether it's traffic, whether it's rude passengers. I just always tell people, just calm down, just relax. And if you start getting to that point where you get really stressed, just like pull over, like put your seat back, nap for 5 minutes, or do whatever you got to do to kind of recenter yourself. But it's not worth it, and it's going to kill your earnings. It's going to kill your ratings, and people won't tip you if you start driving around like super stressed out, right? So that's my biggest, my number one tip. Or number one mistake is just like calm down. You know, you gotta chill out. The next biggest mistake I feel like most drivers make is they don't make it a side hustle. And I think Uber and Lyft, it's really important that you treat it as a side hustle, because a full-time driver, I talked to a guy the other day, he put 60,000 miles on his car in 6 months driving for Uber and Lyft. So 10,000 miles a month, that is insane. And I come from a belief that if you're a full-time driver, you're pretty much just going to destroy your car eventually. And if you're making payments on it, it's going to put you in a really bad position. So I really recommend just trying to do this part-time and using it as more of like a transitionary tool in your life for, you know, whether it's like a new job or whatever it is. But yeah, make it a side hustle and avoid, I think full-time driving is one of the bigger mistakes most people make. Let's see. The next mistake I think that most drivers make is just kind of being the silent driver. And for many reasons, this isn't good. You're not going to get tipped well, but the main thing that I think is the people you run into in Uber and Lyft are really incredible. So for the networking aspect, you're really going to want to be engaging with people and talking to them, because if you've got a business or a career or something you're doing, or you're looking for a job, like you never know who might be your next boss for your dream job, hypothetically. So not really engaging with people, I actually think is a pretty big mistake. Let's see. Okay, so the next biggest mistake I think drivers make is not pushing for the weekends. The weekends are the best monetary days, hands down. You're going to make so much more money on the weekends than you will ever make on a weekday. You can pretty much always average well over 20 an hour if you're in a good market, and weekdays that's not really the case, you know. But the other thing is too, you could just drive from like 1 to 3 a.m. on Friday and Saturday night. You're talking 2 hours on Friday night, 2 hours on Saturday night, and you could probably occasionally make almost $200 just from those 4 hours. Not always, but the surging is so powerful during those hours on Uber that like it's seriously like 2 hours from 1 to 3 a.m. you could make crazy money. So that's my next biggest mistake, is avoiding the weekends. The next one is, I just feel like I see so many Uber drivers that are just killing fast food, you know, putting in 14-hour days, sacrificing sleep. And if you're compromising your health and your sleep for this over and over and over again, you've only got so long before it catches up to you. There's a lot of drivers that have reported having blood clots in their knees, a lot of other health issues because they're just sitting there stuffing McDonald's down their gullet every day of the week. You gotta actually care about your health. I mean, this is the equivalent of just sitting in a rocking chair watching TV all day. We're not doing anything good for our bodies by driving for Uber and Lyft. So you gotta get some kind of health regimen in there, and I think that's the biggest mistake a lot of drivers make, is they don't. All right. The next biggest mistake is, I've heard of some people that won't do the airport, and that's honestly just mind-blowing to me. I make so much money off airport rides. I feel like I get tipped like 80% of the time on them. And especially if you're taking people to the airport, I'm Uber Gold, so I get a ride right out of the airport pretty much every time. And it's like in 1 hour of airport rides, if I do them right, like I'm usually making $30 an hour. So I just can't comprehend why more people would like avoid the airport. I mean, knowing the times to do it is important, but like, that's all you need to know is the times to go to it. So that was the next one, was avoiding the airport. The next biggest mistake you can make, and this is probably the biggest mistake on the list, is only driving for Lyft. Now, in some of the other markets, maybe Lyft is a monster. Everywhere I've driven, I mean, the ratio of like Uber to Lyft rides has got to be like 3 or 4 to 1. I mean, in most cases, I actually just did a video on how I'm like possibly quitting Lyft, because in the last like 2 months, I've been running both apps and I gave 5 Lyft rides because Uber was always ringing me first. The other thing is Lyft doesn't really have a good bonus system anymore. They don't do prime time, which is honestly a huge bummer. And so on Uber, we still get surging. We still get a lot of bonuses. And that's not really the case with Lyft anymore, which is really annoying, honestly. So I don't even really like Lyft anymore. I still do it time to time, but not really at all. So you want to prioritize Uber. And if you don't, you're making a mistake. The next biggest thing is, I mean, this depends on your driving level, so maybe I shouldn't call this the biggest mistake, but you want to aim for Uber Gold rewards is what I'm basically trying to say with this one. I know a lot of people have told me they think the reward systems are crummy, and to be honest, they kind of are, but Uber Gold rewards does offer the faster pickups at the airport, like I was previously talking about. Very, very important. Basically means when you drop off a ride in the airport, you're going to get a ride probably before you leave the airport. You don't have to go back to the lot and wait in the queue. But the other thing that it offers is it gives you the ability to see where your rides are going before you accept it. And that is massively powerful, because I hate when I get people that, like, during rush hour, I get a ride request and they're going a quarter of a mile down the road. And I'm like, you know what? Frickin' walk, you know? So if I see that, I'm declining that ride, because I know that in traffic, that could take me like 7-8 minutes to go, you know, a few hundred feet. Like, it's just not worth it. Alrighty. The next one on the list is really utilizing, actually I'm wording this the wrong way again, but guys that don't, I've met some guys where they don't really go for the surges. And I agree, like, don't chase surges. And I've talked about that in a lot of videos. But knowing your market and researching your market and learning where areas are likely to surge and when they're likely to surge is going to increase your earnings massively if you can really figure that out. So I would say don't discredit surge. Don't, like, maybe you've been burned by it and you've always tried driving to them and you've always missed them. You just basically need to learn it. So I'll just say not researching your surge areas is another big mistake. Alrighty, the next one, this depends on your market, but is not utilizing the consecutive trip bonuses. Doing those the right way can really boost your earnings. I've had consecutive trip bonuses where I've hit like 6 of them in a day and I made like an extra $90 off of them. That's unreal. I mean, that is unreal. So that's the next biggest mistake, guys. You want to really learn your consecutive trip bonuses and really use them effectively. The next biggest mistake is not utilizing your gas discounts. You pretty much get gas discounts from Uber and Lyft. I use both of them at the same time. I go to a Shell station for Lyft's fuel rewards, and then I swipe my Uber gas card. And so I save 12 cents per gallon pretty much every time I fill up. And then I've also combined it in the past with apps like GetUpside, and so then I'll make even more money back on my gas. And it's just honestly a no-brainer if you're driving Uber. Like, gas is our biggest cost, you know? Let's see. The next one is not utilizing maintenance programs. So there's a lot of really good maintenance programs that'll help you save a lot of money in your maintenance. These are going to depend more on your market, but what I'll say, guys, is check Groupon. Groupon is usually going to have some really good deals on oil changes, tires, something, and you might as well save money if you can, right? Let's see. Oh, okay. So the next biggest mistake is drivers that get the, like, crappy gas. So the cheaper gas that you buy, it deteriorates your tank faster, for one, but it also doesn't last as long. So one of the bigger lessons I learned is that if I started buying high quality gas, I was actually getting better gas mileage. So look into that, and that's another thing. Look into your market and find out who is offering, you know, like the highest grade gas quality. Alrighty, so the next biggest mistake I feel like drivers make is just eating on the road. If you're just devouring fast food every single day, for one, your health is going to be at risk eventually. But for two, it's actually not as cheap as you think. So you got to think, if you're paying $6 plus on a combo meal, you know, that's really not that good of savings compared to if you'd gone grocery shopping and packed your own lunch. And I mean, you don't have to go crazy, but like pack like a decently healthy sandwich, you know, some fruit and some like organic chips or something. And the first thing I promise you'll notice is that you'll have more energy. I went through a fast food phase when I was Ubering, and I was drained constantly. So then I started drinking energy drinks too. I had a phase, I kid you guys not, I was drinking 2 energy drinks a day when I was Ubering, and I'm seriously not BSing when I say that, and doing fast food all day, because it's the only way I could get through the day. Now I've gotten off almost all caffeine, and I can go bust out a 9 or 10 hour shift, and I don't need a cup of coffee or an energy drink, but I'm eating really, really clean, and it's keeping my energy levels high. And I've boiled this out before. When I pack my own lunches, I keep my grocery receipts, and I just break it all down. I can pack like a really healthy lunch on average for like $3 to $4. Way cheaper than fast food, insanely healthier, and it makes me feel good and not like crap all day. And that's very, very important if you're driving long hours. Okay, so the next biggest mistake drivers make is not taking breaks. I used to do this as well. I would go grind out like 14-hour shifts, you know, and not taking breaks really started to kill me because my knees were starting to get incredibly stiff. I think I already mentioned this, but there's a lot of drivers who've been getting blood clots in their knees because, you know, we're sitting in here and our legs are at a 90-degree angle all day. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? Nothing good. Not getting good circulation, and if you're not moving enough, it's bad. So I like to take breaks every 6 to 8 hours. And a lot of times I'll just go to the airport lot and get in line, but then I'll get out of my car and I'll walk a few laps around the airport. I'll just, you know, even just get out and stand outside of my car and just, you know, be playing on my phone. Anything to just get my legs a little more active, I know is going to help a lot. Let's see, the next biggest mistake you can make, this is especially as a new driver, but not researching your market. If you just jump into this, like, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And I promise there's some Uber driver or Lyft driver somewhere that has written an article about your city and how to drive effectively. Go read it, learn the times and places to be, and I promise you're going to start making much better money from the get-go. Let's see. The next biggest mistake drivers make is surge chasing. My general rule is if it's more than 8 minutes away, I'm probably not going to try and go get it unless it's one that I know will stick around for a while. But in most scenarios, you chase surges and like right before you get to it, it fizzles out. And then like all those passengers have all gotten picked up and it might not even be as easy to get a ride. That's happened to me a lot. So don't chase surges. Like I said, I only go to them if I realistically think I can get into it on time. If it's a really big one, I might take a little bit more of a risk. You know, if it's like a $20 surge, I might try and drive 12 minutes for it in hope that it only goes down to a 15 by the time I get there or something like that. That's got to be your discretion. But in most cases, I can promise you it's not the best idea. Blah, 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 blah. And the next one kind of along that is chasing rides. That's another huge mistake. In most cases, guys, if you drop off, just park where you're at and you'll probably get a ride in under 10 minutes, especially if you're running Uber. In Lyft, you might wait an eon before you get that next ride, but that's because Lyft is Lyft. No, I'm exaggerating, obviously. As you guys can see, I'm not the biggest fan of Lyft. The next biggest mistake you can make is not utilizing apps. Utilizing apps like GetUpside, Cargo Snack Box, Play Octopus, Stereo, Firefly ads. I mean, if you're utilizing all of those and each one makes you an extra $50 a month, I mean, you could be making, if you've got like 6, 7 of those apps, you could be making easily well over a few $100 extra a month. And all these apps are pretty much free. You know, I know Cargo Snack Box will send you the snack box. Same with the Play Octopus tablet. You know, there's, like, if it's free, why would you not do it? I just don't understand. So, and just so you guys know, I'm going to leave links in the description to all those if you are interested. Alrighty, and the final mistake that I believe people make is doing it too long. You don't want to get married to just doing Uber and Lyft forever. I've talked about this in a lot of videos, how we can't really for a second believe that these services will be around forever. Fully automated cars are going to take over eventually, and we won't have jobs. So the biggest mistake, and this is the number one biggest mistake I think people make, is that they're doing this as a long-term thing. You know, and they tell people, I'm just an Uber driver. You know, and they might even be super happy, and hey, that's awesome. But my fear for those people is that, for one, our rates might get lower and lower and lower. And for two, that, you know, we just might get to a point where we're not even needed, you know, and that could really hurt you. And I don't want that for you and your family or your wife, girlfriend, whatever. So that's what I got for you guys today. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I will talk to you guys soon.